Today I'd like to do a product review of the Olight R20 Javelot Rechargeable Flashlight. This is a high output pocket thrower. As you see, it fits in the palm of your hand, has a little bit of girth to it, and this thing could really throw due to the 900 lumen CREE XP-L HI LED that we see in the middle there, and that extra deep smooth reflector that really makes this thing throw. So it runs on a single 18650 battery, which is 2600 milliamp hours, and the best thing about it is that it's a rechargeable battery, and you could charge it using the micro USB port that's located up on the top here. It even has an O-ring, so it's O-ring sealed, so that makes it IPX8 waterproof. So there's a lot to cover in this video. Let's just get right down to it. Let's go through the R20 Javelot. Before going through the test scenarios, let's just do a quick rundown of all the high-level features just so we're on the same page regarding this flashlight. Again, we have a really nice smooth reflector that you see here and a double-sided anti-reflective hardened glass lens. It has a max advertised beam distance of 314 meters, which is 1,030 feet. We'll see more about that during the test scenario. It has a power indicator light here, so as you're charging it through the micro USB port that you could expose by just twisting there, you're going to be able to see that you're charging it, and it's also going to turn red when you go less than 3 volts, which is really nice. It's a tail stand supported, so you can do a tail stand quite easily. It has a recessed button here in the tail, which I really like, so you're not going to accidentally press it. None of it is exposed at any point. So it's made of aluminum alloy body. It weighs in right around 3.03 ounces, which is 86 grams. Now let's start going through the mode operation of the flashlight. So for the standard outputs, it's all very basic. You have high, medium, and low. That's it. There's no beacon mode, there's no SOS mode. It's just the basics, although that high mode I treat more of as a turbo mode, and I'll show why. So basically, right when you turn it on, it's going to go immediately to high mode, which I really like. And that high mode, again, is 900 lumens, but that only has a runtime of 3 minutes. And then it's going to downshift after 3 minutes to 450 lumens, which has a longer runtime of 2.5 hours. So you press it, and you're going to go down to the medium mode at 100 lumens, which has a runtime of 11 hours. Press it again, and you're going to go to low mode, which is 10 lumens with a runtime of 100 hours. Turn that off again and turn it back on. There's no memory mode or anything like that, so it's going to immediately go back to that high mode. You could also do soft presses here with the tail. And that's a basic rundown of the mode operation. So again, this flashlight is designed to be a thrower, and it really is. As you see here with that hotspot, it's a definite hotspot right in the middle of the beam. There's not a lot of bleed and flood going out from there. You just have that nice bright hotspot that's going to throw at a great distance. And I tested this for the past 5 months or so with various conditions in the city, in the woods, in different weather conditions, and it could really pump out some light at a great distance. Again, they advertise it having a max beam distance of 314 meters. That might be a little bit misleading because that's the bare minimum of what a sensor could read, which with my sensor is 0.2 lux, which isn't that much light at that distance. And again, with that 900 lumens, you have a very short runtime, so it's immediately going to start decrementing as soon as you turn the light on, and then it'll step down to 450 lumens. Regardless, it's still pumping out a lot of light at a great distance, so I really like having the option of having a searchlight stored in your pocket. I conducted a 1 meter Lux Test reading of all the modes of the flashlight to help determine how far it actually throws light of usable light. So not what a meter could read at 0.2 lux, which is kind of unusable for most scenarios. So for me, usable light is civil twilight, which is 3.4 lux. That's when the geometric center of the sun is 6 degrees below the Earth's horizon, and it's the bare minimum illumination on when you could distinguish what an object is. So an object could be a person, a dog, a car. You're basically not going to need to be at 3.4 lux to be able to distinguish that. So I captured that 1 meter lux reading of all the modes, and then using a little bit of physics, namely inverse square law, I'm able to calculate when it would hit that 3.4 lux. So we could see how far it actually throws at the various modes. On low mode, we had a lux reading of 461 lux at 1 meter's distance. So using inverse square law, we're able to calculate that you're going to hit civil twilight at 11.6 meters, which is 38.2 feet. On medium mode at 100 lumens, we had a lux reading at 1 meter's distance of 4010. So we're going to hit that civil twilight distance at 34.3 meters or 112.7 feet. High mode behaves a little bit differently on this Olight flashlight. You basically have two states. The first state's basically like a turbo mode. So at that 900 lumens, at 1 meter's distance, you have a lux reading of 20,500. So you're going to hit civil twilight at 77.6 meters, which is 254.8 feet. And after 3 minutes, it's going to step down to 450 lumens. And at that distance, at 1 meter's distance, you're going to have a lux reading of 12,300. So you're going to hit civil twilight at 60.1 meters, which is 197.3 feet. So again, Olight advertises that this flashlight has a maximum beam distance of 314 meters. So I added a secondary column to my table. I'm able to use the same formula for calculating when I'm going to hit that civil twilight distance of 3.4 lux, and using the same formula to calculate when I'll hit the minimal lux meter reading of 0.2 lux. So if we look at the row for the high mode when it's at 900 lumens, basically my meter was able to calculate that it was going to hit that 0.2 lux at 320.2 meters, which is pretty close to what Olight advertises for 314 meters. So basically that lux meter at 1 meter's distance would have had to have calculated that it was 19,719.2 lux at 1 meter's distance. So with the $30 light meter, it was pretty accurate in that. But again, 0.2 lux is barely nothing. A sensor could identify it, but you're not going to be able to distinguish what you're looking at, especially at that distance. Olight advertises that high mode of 900 lumens only lasts for 3 minutes, and then it's going to step down to 450 lumens, which has a much longer runtime of 2.5 hours. So I wanted to put that to the test. So what I did is I had a fully charged battery, put it in the flashlight, and then I did the same 1 meter lux test, but every 10 seconds I captured a new lux reading. And I put it into a little spreadsheet and made a chart from it. So let's take a quick look at that chart now. So as you can see, as soon as you turn it on, it's going to immediately start decrementing in the illumination at a slow pace. So it's going to do that for around 200 seconds. And then after 200 seconds, you're going to see it immediately start to dive down to that 450 lumens. You can see that with the lux meter, it's just going to do a quick countdown, and that countdown's going to last maybe 30 seconds. So then right when it hits around 230 to 240 seconds, you're going to hit a flat line of that 450 lumens, and it's going to stay at that for an extended period of time. And so I thought that Olight's description on how that works was pretty accurate. I actually think it ran a little bit longer during my test scenario. So after making all of those lux calculations, I went out to a dark field and mapped out the 3 distances for the 3 modes of the flashlight. So I have a cone at low, medium, and high mode for that civil twilight distance of 3.4 lux. I was able to secure one of Chris Tanner's tactical ninjas for this illumination test. Here's what that tactical ninja looks like on low mode at 3.4 lux, and that's what low mode looks like when it shined right back at you at that civil twilight distance. Here's the same tactical ninja on medium mode, and that's what medium mode looks like when it shined back at you, and again that's at civil twilight, so 3.4 lux. And on high mode, the tactical ninja is way out there. You could barely see him, but I do shine the flashlight back at you so you can see what it looks like on high. So again, that's at civil twilight on high for the first 3 minutes that it is on high. Here's also on high once it's stepped down to the lower lumens. So, and that's what it looks like when it shined back at you at that distance. Now let's change the point of view to the tactical ninja. Here's what the tactical ninja could see as far as illumination goes. So you could barely see his pants, you could see the cone a little bit, and this is on low mode. On medium mode, let's take another look at that civil twilight, 3.4 lux. That's what he's seeing at that distance. So you could barely make out the cone and the pants for medium mode. And here's the point of view of the tactical ninja while on high mode. So again, at 3.4 lux, you could barely make out his pants and the cone, and that's about it at that distance. Now let me show you the flood of the flashlight. So I went out to 10 meters, 20 meters, 30 meters, and 40 meters with the beam centered, and then I went out to the sides horizontally or laterally to see when it hits that civil twilight at 3.4 lux, to see the flood of the flashlight. So now the tactical ninja is going to walk into the civil twilight area. So he just passed that cone there on the left, and as he walks to the right, he just hit civil twilight right at 3.4 lux. I'm going to have a red light help indicate where he's at. So there he just hit civil twilight. He's in the flashlight's beam now. And then he walks out of civil twilight right there, and then he'll disappear. At 30 meters distance, we'll see the red light again, right around there. That's now he's in civil twilight, and he's going to walk out of civil twilight. Looks like the cops are looking for him too, and there he goes walking out of it. And then finally, at 40 meters, there's the civil twilight. He's walking into the beam, and then he's walking out of it, right there. And that's at 40 meters distance. Hopefully this outdoor tactical ninja illumination segment gave you a better understanding of what the capabilities are of this flashlight. Again, it's a thrower of a flashlight. There's not a big difference in the lateral distances when you're checking the flood of it. It's just a very centered beam of light. Now let's start going through the pros and cons, starting off first with the pros. So the number one pro with this particular flashlight, again, it's a great pocket thrower. It's really impressive on how far this thing could really throw out light for such a small flashlight. The next pro that I have is I really like the convenient recharging, and Olight didn't skimp on this one. Oftentimes with flashlights, they'll have the little plastic piece covering the USB micro port where you have to get your fingernail in there, dig it out, and plug in there. It just has a cheap appearance to me, and usually it's going to equate to having a lower IPX rating. Olight didn't skimp. You have the O-ring on here with a twisty top. I mean, it's just top notch for the recharging. I think it's a great size for a pocket thrower. How it fits in your hand, you might not want to EDC it like in your pants pocket, but maybe in a jacket pocket and definitely like in a motorcycle tank bag or something. It's just a great size for a flashlight, and it feels good in the hand. So I also really like that you have that low voltage indicator at the top here, as well as the indicator for charging the flashlight. That's just a really nice perk to know when your battery's dying on here rather than having to guess on it. And the last pro that I have is I really like the clean, simple design to it. I like that it doesn't have it's a non-tactical bezel on the top here, and you don't have a bunch of fancy modes on here. To be honest, I've never needed to use a strobe mode or an SOS or a beacon mode, anything like that. I just want to turn on the flashlight and have it shoot light very efficiently, and that's what Olight does here with the R20. Now let's start going through the cons. So the first con that I have listed is that I wish that the knurling was a little thicker here on the top, the part that exposes the micro USB port. It's a little bit on the thin side, the small side, and it's a little slippery. So I wish that it was a little bit thicker so you could get a better grip on it and also be able to distinguish more when you're actually touching the body of the flashlight compared to the twisty head. So again, I just kind of wish that it had thicker knurling here for better grip. It doesn't include a pocket clip, which I imagine some people might like having a pocket clip with this particular flashlight. I actually prefer the lanyard on it just because this flashlight's a little bit too large for front pocket EDC, for example. But I imagine some people might like having a pocket clip available. The beam output's a little bit misleading where they advertise the max beam distance of being 314 meters, which I guess is technically correct if you want to say that it does that for maybe 2 seconds and then it just starts stepping down from there. But that's not really any kind of fault of Olight. That's pretty common with all flashlights. It's just something that kind of bothers me a little bit. And then the last con that I have listed, it's a little pricey at $60 on Amazon, but again, you're getting a high quality flashlight. You're probably never going to have to replace it or not have to for a very long time. But $60 for a small pocket flashlight might be pricey for some. And that's all I have listed for the cons. That's going to do it for this product review featuring the Olight R20 Javelot rechargeable flashlight. In summary, I really like this flashlight. I've been testing it pretty extensively for the past 5 months, and it's performed extremely well during my testing. I really like that it has a super basic design to it, not only in the appearance of it, but also the mode operation, but it still throws a ton of light at a great distance. It's very impressive. I think it would work well for a vehicle glove box, for a motorcycle tank bag, a home spotlight, and then also if you want to show off and show that your EDC flashlight throws farther than the other person's, this one will probably win most contests. So I've left all the product information in the description box below. If you're interested in this particular light, please leave your comments below in the comment section. And I hope you guys enjoyed watching this video featuring the Olight R20 Javelot flashlight. See you guys next time.